Hello, and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you, and welcome once again to The Story Behind the Stories, your weekly look at the pages of the Neepawa Banner Press. I am Eoin Devereux, news and sports reporter with the Banner Press. I am joined this week by Kira Paterson, news reporter with the Banner Press. Kira, great to have you in here today.
Good to be here, sort of.
Yeah. Well, of all the papers to be able to talk about, this is one of those special ones that it's kind of all right because it's the Christmas edition. And it's really wonderful. We can't do this without the people behind the scenes, little elves as it were, who put in all that little magic and work to make it look like it does. Diane Warner, John Drinkwater, Kira and Casper as well. I'll be honest, I did hardly anything in the B or C section. And I'll be honest with you as well, I'm probably going to coast through the next couple papers.
But I was going to do that.
Yeah. You know, it's been a long year. Sometimes we need a break. You can only run a marathon every week for so long before your legs give out. But fortunately, there are so many people on staff who stepped up for my laziness. And one of the big contributors this week, a contributor every week, is Helen Drysdale. Her recipes, which appear on page 6 of every edition of the Banner Press, are always a favorite for our readers. We don't have one on page 6 this week. There's a very good reason for that. It's because we have 10 of them in the B and C section of this week's paper. Helen went above and beyond and came up with some really amazing recipes. I mean, Kira, we were just marveling as they came in just every week. It was like, oh, okay, all right, this sounds good.
And the great thing is, in the Christmas section, she includes pictures with it. There's not always pictures in the regular page 6 recipe, but in Christmas section, there's pictures, and it makes you want them even more.
Yep. No, and it's a variety as well, because some people maybe don't like the sweets. They like only a little bit of sweet. Some people have a real sweet tooth. So it gives that little mix and match. One of my favorite ones is pretty much right near the start. I mean, I saw the picture on page B4, the banana split squares, and it was like, are you kidding me? All right, I'm done. There's your winner right there. And the great thing is, as Kira said, you can see the picture of it, because it just looks phenomenal. I'm going to put you on the spot, Kira. I'm going to ask you if you had any type of favorite recipe that sort of, when it came in, you just sort of went, all right, there it is.
Well, just from looking at it, this was kind of one of the last minute ones she sent in. Helen called up and she said, is it too late to send one more recipe? I have one more to add. I said, absolutely, send it in. It's not too late. And she said, I would bake you some, but it wouldn't make it out of the house because it's just that good. And I believe her, because it's called Apple Cranberry Pie Extraordinaire. And I'm a huge fan of pies in general, and apple cranberry sounds amazing, and it's got like a crumble on top. Like it doesn't sound like there's anything bad about this pie, so I don't blame her for not wanting to share.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's on B8 for the special section. And again, once you get through the B section, you think, oh, there can't be any more. I mean, that's got to be as Christmassy as they get. Wrong. You go into the C, and there's more. There's a wonderful, Kira, you worked on the front page for the C section. The B section is just our goofy looking mugs smiling at you. But the C, and again, I mean, you know, it's fine, you know. I don't scare children that much.
And your face is small enough that it's not that scary.
That's right, exactly. But in real life, just giant walking bobblehead, I think, is probably the best way to say it. But the C section as well. I mean, you came across this picture, and it just had that certain little charm, didn't it?
I mean, I have to say, I did not paint this picture. That was not my art. But I found this art, and I thought, you know what? I think this would look really good on a front page. So we try to always have a staff picture or picture of the staff this year separately, not all as one. On our B section front page, just as a like Merry Christmas from all of us, and see our wonderful smiling faces. But then the C section, we need a second front page. So I found that, and I thought, you know what, it's a little bit different from what we've had before, and it's kind of a nostalgic almost feel. I don't know if you can see it here, but it's like a Christmas, it's like a watercolor painting kind of a Christmas street. There's a big tree, there's stores, there's people walking around. There's a horse and buggy, it looks like.
Nostalgic for when people could walk around.
Yeah, when people could go shopping in person.
Man, those were the days.
Oh, man.
But again, hopefully those days will be returning soon enough. This is a very different Christmas. This is a very different holiday season. Some of us are not going to be celebrating it the way we normally do, but let's just remember what the holidays are all about. It's that feeling of generosity, and again, being selfish and staying home is a generosity right now, because you are being generous to society. You're being generous to all those other people out there, and it's tough, but we can celebrate Christmas even more in January. My family will be celebrating, hopefully, when the restrictions are done. I believe if we're good, if we're nice, we're not naughty, maybe the restrictions we're under right now will be gone by January 11th. And I've said to my family, all right, then we'll have Christmas dinner on January 12th, if that's the case. So it's a little different, but there's the little things, like Helen's recipe are the little things that give us a little touch of normalcy, and I hope you appreciate them, because I think a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of work went into it, didn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the saddest things about our section this year is sometimes when Helen sends in these recipes, she'll make samples for us and bring them in, but I don't think that that's going to be allowed this year. So one of the saddest things is we're not going to get to taste them made by Helen, so we'll have to make them ourselves, I guess.
Well, then we're just going to have to start baking.
Yep.
And fortunately, Helen sets it up in such a way is that even somebody like me who doesn't bake on a regular basis could actually get through and get this stuff done. So it's wonderful. I mean, all skill levels are going to be able to do something with this. So always appreciative, Helen. Thank you very much for all that effort. And very much looking forward to the new year and seeing some of the new recipes that are going to be coming down. All right, let's shift over our attention into the A section. Because again, as we said, there's 3 big, huge sections of information. This is going to be a big paper this week. The A section still has all the news, and right on the front page, a little bit of a festive Christmas feel to it as well, and that's thanks to Kira.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted to keep with the theme, of course. So Reverend Chad McCharles from the Neepawa United Anglican Shared Ministry sent me an email and said, the Neepawa Ministerial, which is the leaders from all of the churches in Neepawa who get together and talk about things, obviously not to get together physically right now, but they kind of organize stuff in the community between the churches. They, I guess, decided this year that they're going to be keeping the lights on in their sanctuaries, in the church sanctuaries in Neepawa, throughout Christmas Eve. Kind of as a symbolic, like we can't have an in-person Christmas Eve service like we normally do, but as he said, Christmas still shines bright and the churches are still alive and alight, and so it's kind of just it's a symbolic message that Christmas is still happening. It still exists. It's just we can't celebrate it in the normal way that we do most years.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's going to be happening then is, again, initially I thought, what they're just going to turn the lights on? They do that normally. But it's actually the interiors. They're going to be... Yeah, they're going to have, and most churches, the way they're set up is there's big windows that go into the sanctuary so that there's lots of light that can go into the sanctuary. Some of them have stained glass, if they're fancy. And so you'll be able to see when their lights are on in the sanctuary, all of the light shining out of those big windows, and it'll just be kind of like the heart of the church is aglow. Yeah. It'll be kind of a cool scene to see. No, that's wonderful to see that type of spirit and ingenuity as we're sort of dealing with the situation as we are is shining right through. You can find that story, obviously, right on the front page. It's going to be difficult to miss. You can see that right on page 1. But if you flip into the A section, interesting little submitted article received. Received this from a student. Charlie Strelzik? Yep, is the name of the the young person who did this, we've talked about the situation with COVID-19 a lot. And we've done as many perspectives as we can, but this is a slightly different perspective. Very appreciative, Charlie, that you sent this in, because it gives the perspective from the students, the young people who are on the ground there, dealing with it and trying to get through a normal day. School, adolescence is difficult enough. But with these types of pressures of the pandemic and the stress and the situation that they're under as well, it makes it tenfold. And it's a nice little sort of, I was pleasantly surprised, I'll be honest, with the perspective and the knowledge that was brought through this. So it's definitely, I thought, worth a read.
Oh yeah. Another unique thing about this article is that for us as reporters, when we go to talk to people at the schools, they always direct us to the superintendent. They don't want to necessarily get in trouble for making any comments when they're not supposed to comment. They are told to direct all questions to the superintendent. So we don't really often get the perspectives directly from the teachers. Charlie was able to actually talk to the teachers because Charlie is in the school as a student. So there are some quotes from teachers, from principals, some actual reactions of when we first started to go into shutdown and the schools first closed last March, what kind of the reactions were from that. What the reactions are from what it has been so far this year since September. So it's actually a really good inside story. It's really nice to see a different perspective.
Yeah, because again, when you watch the news or you read a newspaper or hear a story on the radio, you're hearing a lot of sort of the upper echelon, as Kira said, the administration are talking from their perspective. But a lot of the administration for these organizations, these divisions, aren't on the ground. They aren't walking through the halls as much as they used to. So to see and to hear the perspective actually in the hallways is very interesting. So kudos to Charlie on that, and we do hope that you will take a few minutes and read through it. And a little personal shout out as well, just anyone who wants to put submissions in there. As long as there's no cursing, be nice, or as long as you're trying to inform us on any situation, we take submissions. We'll gladly sort of. The worst thing that can happen is we read it and we make a few tweaks to make it sort of flow a little bit better, or if it's really off the rails, we might not. The worst thing that can happen is we say thank you, but no. But don't hesitate to submit something. If you're a part of an organization or anything like that and you want to get your message out there, we definitely want to share that with you. We try each and every week to get out there, but we're a small media corporation, essentially. We're only a few people and we can't
hit
everywhere. We'd love to, but it's
and I mean, obviously, this situation that we're in with COVID-19 and stuff, we're not really wanting to add another body to any little things that are happening because we don't want to put things over the limit. And so we hope that people will submit things when they're going on because we don't necessarily want to be out and about as much as we normally are.
Yep.
And people don't necessarily want us there as much as they normally do. So submissions, especially right now, are our bread and butter right now.
Exactly. We got this, in a way it's a submission, but you chased it down. Rick Sparling was talking to us about this, and this has really developed. You've been right from the get-go on this, talking with him about this new book that's coming up.
Yes, actually, because this book that Rick Sparling, he used to live in Neepawa, grew up in Neepawa, he now lives in Winnipeg, but the book is going to be centered around his articles that he has had in the Neepawa Press and the Banner Press. And so he kind of enlisted me to help collect some of those and find them in our archives, because he has hard copies but not the digital copies. So I was able to kind of get those all together and transfer them over to him so that he can start putting it together into a book format. Basically the story is that he has been collecting all these articles that he's written over the years and is putting them into one big book for a keepsake, and he will have some for sale in Neepawa. And actually the plan originally, I guess, was that he was going to just have it as a book for himself, just so that he'd have everything together. But then he thought, well, if I could sell some of these, then I could use this as a fundraiser for some local initiatives. So he's going to, whatever profits he makes, he's going to split between NACTV, right here, and the Neepawa Roxy Theatre, because those are two organizations that are important to him. And I thought that was a really neat little turn to the story, because when I started helping him out with that, I didn't realize that that was going to be part of it. So that was really cool, and I definitely wanted to make sure that that got out there, as well as the fact that there's going to be a book, because he has published a few books before, all about Neepawa stuff. And this one, it even includes stories about people that grew up in Neepawa, about people that he knows. So if they are in the book, then they might want to buy it, right? So I thought it was kind of a cool little story. That's on our travel entertainment page. Yep.
Well, no, it's interesting. And Rick has done such a tremendous job over the years. As Kira had mentioned, he's done many books. Talking about minor hockey in Neepawa, that one went over huge when it was released. Talking about Neepawa businesses as well, that one very well received. It's interesting, like Ken Waddell in the old office in the Banner building, and to a degree here at the Press building, used to have all these books on his shelf of all these different little communities, talking about their history, talking about the families that lived in their little communities. And that was great. You don't see that as much anymore. Everything seems to be shifting over to online. Everything seems to be shifting over to digital. Hard copies of history aren't really that much of a thing anymore when it comes to smaller communities. So it's great that Rick is doing something like that.
Yeah, and his articles are always really interesting. We had a year ago, I believe, we had Central School, which was the school in Neepawa that used to be where Safeway is now. He has stories about all of the businesses that used to be along certain streets. He has stories about what he did as a kid growing up, what he did for fun in Neepawa, that kind of a thing. Such interesting stuff. And Ken Waddell knows a lot of history, but he actually didn't grow up in Neepawa, so this is even more history that Ken doesn't even necessarily know. It's really cool to see.
Would be interesting, and I'm going off on a slight, it's not even a tangent, but just going off in a different direction here. One thing that I wish somebody would cover, and again, somebody will probably say, well, why don't you cover it? Because I'm lazy. I thought we established that. One that I would be interested in seeing is a retrospective, some type of book maybe on the Junior A hockey team. The Neepawa native, currently the Neepawa natives, soon to be the Neepawa to be determined, have been in this community, a part of this community, for 32 years now. It would be interesting. And there was another team, the Portage Terriers. No, I think I'm wrong. It might be the Dauphin Kings. One of those two teams recently did a book of their entire history, like a 50-year retrospective of all the teams, all the players, all the records. And it was really interesting to sort of skip through it. And it would be interesting to see a version of that for Neepawa. Because I don't know how well the records have been kept. I have no idea who scored the most goals in Neepawa Natives history. I have no idea how many accumulative wins this hockey team has put together in the MJ. But it would be interesting, I think, if you're a hockey fan, a Junior A fan, and a Neepawa fan, to have something like that. Maybe I need to talk to Rick about that. Maybe I need to get off my duff and do something about it.
Yeah, that would be an option too.
Yep. But Rick has really sort of set the path when it comes to something like that for Neepawa. He's done tremendous work in the past, and it's going to be interesting to see how this comes out. And we're definitely going to be talking about this again in the future, aren't we?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk about something right now that we just talked about relatively recently, but there's a new update to it. Casper Wehrhahn did the update this week to a story that I did about 2 weeks ago. And it's a project called Country of the Week. It's an online program developed by a family based out of Minnedosa. Dave Tenier and his daughters came up with this. Country profiles, essentially. With the situation in the pandemic, learning is a little difficult here and there, and online learning is becoming a very key tool in terms of getting students to learn. So he came up, and his daughters came up with this Country of the Week initiative. These sheets, videos, every week there's a new country you learn about. You discover some of the details of that country. It's a really interesting sort of, I was genuinely intrigued by what they had done with it. We talked about it in general about 2 weeks ago, so if you pick up a paper of that, you can sort of get the information. Well, I'm not going to take credit for this. Other news organizations have covered this as well recently, but this is really starting to take off because they are getting some provincial funding in order to be able to get this program out to everybody. So provincial government, I believe it's the Safe at Home program.
I think it was the Safe at Home program.
Yep.
I believe that's what it's called, yeah.
Another item we've talked about in the Banner and Press has given some money to Country of the Week in order to allow every single Manitoban that wants it to be able to sign up and get it for free for 3 months. That's tremendous. That's wonderful. Every single student, every single young person, and heck, even somebody like myself who just likes to be able to learn things, and Kira, I guess, as well.
Yeah, of course.
Can maybe sign up for this and take part in this. And it's really a great sort of, it's really taken off here. And I got to commend Dave and his daughters for that type of work. Casper does a great job of sort of updating this. It's not sort of reminiscing on the old information from 2 weeks ago. It's all new. So you're going to be able to learn how things have just in this short period of time taken off, and taken off in a big way. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, what was your opinion on that, Kira?
It's really exciting. It was actually really cool to me to see that this program was actually one of the 9 pre-approved grants from the Safe at Home grant program, because people can apply for this grant if they are planning to or have some programming that will entertain or educate or keep people healthy while at home. So if somebody has a workout show or a cooking show or something like that that they want to develop and they need the money for, you can apply for this grant. And I guess the Manitoba government knew about this Country of the Week program and thought, this is something that is definitely going to be something we want in this Safe at Home program. So they pre-approved it for this grant so that Country of the Week could get some money to offer this for free, which is really cool.
Man, that is tremendous. And homegrown, Neepawa in Minnedosa, I think are close enough that we can sort of, any success Minnedosa receives and any success we have, we're regionally, we're a little competitive, especially on the ice, but any success that's coming out of Minnedosa, just definitely want to give kudos to those individuals and that community. Speaking of which, another thing that's going on in Minnedosa that they've been able to sort of put together, and I'm sure there were some tense negotiations back and forth between the representatives from the Minnedosa Lions Club and jolly old St. Nick. But fortunately, they were able to get things together, and Santa Claus, despite his busy schedule, Kira, is going to be making a quick stopover in Minnedosa.
It's a Christmas miracle.
Yes. It is a Christmas miracle since Minnedosa has always been so naughty. I'm just kidding. Apparently, their nice quotas for the year have been off the charts, which is great to see. And that's why they've been able to arrange for on December 25th, Wednesday.
23rd.
23rd, sorry.
He's busy on Christmas,
Yes,
guys.
yes. On Wednesday the 23rd, you're right. Santa's going to be starting at around 7 o'clock at the police station, and we'll be doing a little bit of a drive-by. It'll be a drive-by Santa. That's what it's going to be. And he's going to be accompanied by some representatives, first responders, RCMP, EMTs, ambulance services, those individuals, and members of the Lions Club as well. It's not going to be a parade like a normal parade, so they're just asking people, just maybe step outside your door when Santa comes driving by, give them a wave. There's going to be music in the air, some of Santa's favorite songs. There's going to be representatives from the Lions Club walking alongside. It's going to be socially distanced as well. It's not going to be a normal parade. So you can just step out. You know, the parade is coming to you essentially. So almost every single street in Minnedosa, they're going to be driving down. That's amazing. I mean, Santa's putting in the effort. Got to appreciate it from the old man.
Yeah. I mean, he's actually going to be even busier than we thought, because just after the print deadline, we also got word that he's going to be in Carberry. So I don't remember the exact date or time, but apparently he's going to make a stop in Carberry too. So he's going to be super busy in our area. But don't worry, he's going to make it back for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, so that you can get your presents under the tree.
Yeah. And not to throw Neepawa under the sleigh, but what did we do? I thought we were good this year. I thought we were nice.
I mean, we just got it together enough to have a motion to pass that he's going to be allowed in town on Christmas Eve to deliver presents, because he has been isolating up in the North Pole. There's been no visitors. He hasn't been leaving for anything until next week, I believe. So he's going to be real safe when he's coming by. So all of the councillors in Neepawa have voted to allow him to come and visit the kids' homes.
Yeah, it's my fault, isn't it? I was extra naughty this year, and I ruined the curve for Neepawa. My bad. I'm sorry about that. I will try and be nicer next year. I promise. But that's great. I mean, that's part of the holiday season, having this type of fun. You know, getting Santa to visit and just the lights, the whole 9 yards. It's really great. In terms of stories for this week's Banner and Press, there's so much more that we didn't have time to cover. We got a new cartoon as well from Jeremy, who is doing the switching right now for NACTV. He's done several of these throughout the year. We are appreciative of that. You can check it out. And again, every time we get them, we are amused by them. It's like they are very good.
They're good. I enjoy them.
Yep. I think Ken's going to try and get a couple more in 2021. So, Jeremy, if you're obviously listening, so I guess you'll have to get your creative juices flowing on that. And plus, like we said, I'm going to be lazy for the next little while, so we need space. We need to fill space.
All the help we can get.
Yep. But in order to do that as well in 2021, we do continue to hope that you will support us by picking up a hard copy. If you have tips as well, you can contact us. We'd love to get to news tips at news@neepawabanner.com or at 476-3401. Sports might be a thing in 2021. I'm optimistic about that. And you can contact me directly at sports@neepawabanner.com. Ads as well. I mean, that keeps the doors open. That keeps the heat on. You can contact Ken, John, or Diane. Creative@neepawabanner.com, ads@neepawabanner.com. I'll give you pages at neepawabanner.com. You can pester Kira as well.
You want to talk to me because you don't want to talk to that crazy guy.
Exactly. But again, we always appreciate your support each and every week, and we hope that come into 2021, you will continue to support us because we're still going to be out and about. We're going to try and be out and about as best we can, bringing you all the stories behind the stories. Thank you, Kira, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you.
And Merry Christmas to you as well.